Our first performance is by Sally Love Saunders. See, Sally wants everyone to know she has been performing at the March for over 25 years. And she is very, very, very appreciative of the March support and audience members, which are you guys, for coming here to see her and everybody else. But you know what? Sally wants you to know, and the name of the show is Warning, Fitness May Be Hazardous for Your Health. And she wants everybody to know that fitness, which is a serious subject, I enjoy poking fun at. Every time I try to get fit, I end up with a tail to tail. So you guys give her a round of applause and welcome her, Sally.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Nice to be here. When it asks for my employer, I say Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield. When it asks for my address, I say doctor's offices. My name is Sally Love Saunders. I live in many doctor's offices. I've taken many diet pills, you name it. I'm here to tell you stories about some attempts I have had to get fit and how they have backfired. My message is warning, fitness may be hazardous to your health and your life. I phoned Dr. Anderson's office. Hi, can I put you on hold? Yes, I can hold. I'd like to make an appointment, please. To sit in Dr. Anderson's office for a long time and then have a free visit. Please. husband said, the Lord gave us only a limited time on this earth. Why waste it on exercise? In preparing this talk, I interviewed two centenarians about the role of exercise in their life. Two of them, centenarians. The first said she'd gone to one class in her life and couldn't stand it. The other had never gone and wasn't going to start now. I want to talk about balance classes. I walked on a board in a balance class, fell and twisted my ankle. They took me to urgent care where many people were sneezing and coughing. I walked out with a twisted ankle, a cough, and the flu. Attended another exercise class and tore my ligament. I couldn't exercise for a long time and I gained weight. Yoga is supposed to be relaxing, but I don't know what's so relaxing about stretching and pain. What's so relaxing about stretching and pain? Huh? Does anybody know? Signed up at the gym, everyone said, personal trainer. You have to have a personal trainer. So I got one. Got me a personal trainer. So, Some people have trainers who work them really hard with exercise routines. I had a trainer who exhausted me talking about all the things that I shouldn't eat. All the things I shouldn't eat. So I spent an hour thinking about all the things I shouldn't eat. And at the end of the hour, I was starving. I was so hungry, I felt dizzy and I couldn't get up from the exercise bench. The trainer was really worried and brought me something to get my blood sugar up enough to go home. The next session, the same thing happened. I was so drained from the lectures about my diet that I was exhausted again. Oh. And the trainer brought me another snack to raise my blood sugar. By the end of the 6-week package, I hadn't learned any new routines, but I trained the trainer to feed me snacks. I burned more calories chewing than I did working out. So after the class, I went to Whole Foods to get more healthy snacks. About Whole Foods, I used to walk there for fitness when it was raining. I went early when the aisles were cleared with the intentions of getting some exercise walking up and down the aisles. But snacks caught my eyes. Organic popcorn, organic chocolate chip cookies, organic fruit and nut bars, organic brownies, organic cheese puffs, organic. Everything was organic. I was in the gym with a trainer working on my shoulders. A man comes up to me and says, "Hi, Sally," bangs me on the shoulder to be friendly and jolly, but it hurt. So the work that the trainer did went down the drain. I left the gym with more pain than I had when I came in. At the fitness center, I got cellulitis from a cut in my hand. I grabbed on an exercise bike in the gym that hadn't been wiped off from the person before me. I had a colonoscopy. Excuse me. I had a colonoscopy. The directions said, after the procedure, due to the anesthesia, get plenty of sleep and drink plenty of water. Now, will you tell me, how is somebody supposed to get plenty of sleep? Plenty of sleep and drink lots of water. I don't know how to drink water when I sleep. Okay. Swimming like laps at the Y, there were two women just standing there and talking in my lane. And rather than get out of my way, they stayed and I banged into them. One more thing to say about swimming. I got an infection from bacteria in the water. The infection was diagnosed as contact dermatitis. Contact dermatitis. To get fit and hopefully meet a man, I signed up for the Sierra Club Advanced. I'm not advanced, but I thought a man would lend me a hand. One did, but that relationship was hazardous. Hazardous to my health and my life. There was a yoga teacher in the building where I lived, so I went to yoga class. I had no trouble with doing what she wanted us to do. I was able to lie flat, stretch my arms forward and my legs backwards. No trouble. Then I learned it was the advanced class when I thought it was the beginner's class. I thought I'd go to the beginner's class, but it was really the advanced class. Later on the week, I went to the beginner's class. I couldn't do a thing. I couldn't do a thing. Later, in another yoga class, we were lying on the floor, all spread out. The chandelier fell. I'm not making this up. From the ceiling, missing me by inches. In another exercise class, I tore my ligament. Couldn't exercise for a long time and gained weight. Yoga is supposed to be very relaxing, but I didn't know what's so relaxing about stretching and pain. Heard meditation was beneficial to your health. I went to a Buddhist temple and meditated. I meditated so hard that I got very relaxed and fell asleep. And I almost fell off my chair. Went to a fasting place and fasted on nothing but beeler broth. That's unseasoned steamed vegetables that have been blended into soup. Then I had trouble with my stomach. A friend took a bunch of vitamins for health. She was supposed to get calcium, zinc, Kulan, but instead she choked and her husband did the Hemorrhagic hug on her. It's Hemorrhagic or the Hemorrhagic hug on her. She ended up with a broken rib and no nutrients. Okay, tell me something. How are you supposed to take one pill, 3 times a day? That's what it says here. Take 1 pill by mouth 3 times a day. Are you supposed to swallow it and then pull it up? And then take it again the second time, swallow it, pull it up. And then take it a 3rd time, swallow it, and then pull it up. Or are you supposed to chop it in thirds and take a 3rd 3 times a day? Well, I don't know. I called the pharmacist and I said, how do you take 1 pill 3 times a day? She said, follow the directions. And hung up. Boarding school was big on exercise. I took a toboggan ride and the person in front of me forgot to hold my leg. So my leg went down the hill the whole way. Then I had to have surgery and a big cast. About professional athletes, they exercise their life away and run all sorts of risks of harm to their bodies, subject of steroids. Football and baseball players do so much to be super fit. They may take steroids, which is supposed to be very unhealthy. So warning that this may be hazardous to your health. A couple met at a health resort, decided to live together, practice healthy living. They said they would have lots of vegetables and lots of sex. Each had to sell their own house. It was a cascade of problems after that. And they both ended up totally stressed out and sick. So their intentions of living a healthy healthy lifestyle never came into fruition. And don't even ask about the sex. My mother came to visit me, and I took her to Baker Beach to take a healthy walk. We both were exhausted from the walk, so we took a sun bath, woke up, and there were nudes all around. My mother, in her loud Southern accent, was furious. Child, why did you bring me here? In school, ice skating was a popular after-school activity. I had my brothers hand me down ice skates. However, I didn't know how to use men's ice hockey skates. So instead of coming to a controlled stop, I ran into a post and I had to have stitches. I still have the scar. Warning, 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 warning. Fitness may be hazardous to your health. You know those luxurious stuffed chairs at malls and stores and airports, where all you have to do for instant relaxation is push a button? Well, I pushed the button and the chair ate me up with monster teeth, chewing up my back. I lost a lot of weight at a fitness resort. My two-piece bathing suit fell off in the lake while I was swimming with my boyfriend. The current ran off with my bathing suit. The boyfriend didn't like my new thin body. He angrily expressed that he liked me plump, and my going away to get thin was a waste, and he broke up with me. So, warning, fitness may be hazardous to your health, and warning, fitness may be hazardous to your life. My mother used to tell me, and this is really the truth, only nice people get breast cancer. You will never, ever get breast cancer. That's what my mother told me. Well, I got a call after a mammogram saying I had breast cancer, and they put me on hold. Not only did they put me on hold, but they put my life on hold for a year. I had a ticket to go on vacation, but had to have breast cancer surgery instead. So I called United Airlines, and they said they would not refund my money. So I said, okay, I'll just not have the surgery, and I'll take the flight and die since you will not refund my money. The United operator said, very well, have a nice day, and hung up. I want to toast for Mara, which was the medicine, the breast cancer medicine that saved my life. Tomorrow, for Mara. I look forward to the day when my great nieces and my great nieces say to me, what was that old-fashioned disease called breast cancer? After breast cancer treatments, more fitness, I went to a health resort in upstate New York. It took hours to get there, past the suburbs, villages, farms, and finally just empty space. We were miles away from anything. I went there to lose weight and to break my addiction to drinking coffee. After a couple of days, I decided losing weight was okay, but I had to have my coffee. So early the next morning, I snuck out and hiked to the gas station, which was the only place around that served coffee. They had warned us that there was a kleptomaniac at the resort, and I thought I'd better take my valuables with me. So I put everything in a brown bag and took off. The walk there was easy downhill, but coming back, it was all uphill, and I was exhausted. So I hitched a ride with a passing truck and told the driver that nobody should know that I had snuck out to get the coffee. So he dropped me off at the entrance to the resort and took off like a shot. I immediately realized that I had left the bag of my valuables in his truck by mistake. So he couldn't go to the front desk and say, I have a bag for the lady that walked down here. She had, she was fat and short and had gray hair. But I couldn't go running after him because he couldn't tell the resort that I'd gone out. And then what was I going to do? All my cash was gone. Indeed, it was a very expensive cup of coffee. Broke my wrist trying to cook a healthy dinner. See the scar. I had to have it reconstructed, and now it's my best and strongest body part. Whenever I fall, I make a point to land on it. And remember, fitness may be hazardous to your health and to your life. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come here and show off and have fun with you and enjoy this wonderful world at the Marsh. Thank you. Oh.
Clap it up, you guys. Sally. It's Sally Love Saunders. Her bit was, warning, fitness may be hazardous for your health. Give her another round of applause. Well, I'm not gonna put Sally's business out in the street, but she brought 2 men for her tonight. 2 guys, you know. I'm jealous, Sally. I am jealous of this. Okay, so we're gonna go for our next show performer. And but first I have, now again, I'm gonna say, it was on the screen and people on the Zoom saw it, but I'm gonna bring another, let people know again that we have another show that's happening at the Marsh in Berkeley, and it's called Train Stories by Wayne Harris. He wrote this wonderful story, 1948, of 3 Black men telling their stories at the Marsh. Train Stories, please come see it. And then we have Josh Kornbluth, and it's gonna be at the Marsh in Berkeley. It's called Citizen Brain. So please, when you guys get a chance to put the Zoom up there in the Zoom, there you go. Please go and see the show. I like to also say this. You know, this show wouldn't happen if we didn't have this wonderful staff. Number one, me. I'm Pearl. I'm the house manager. But we also have, thank you so much. I ain't got no shame on that. But we also have a wonderful staff person by the name of Robert. He handles the light. Thank you. Robert's great. And then we have Brianna. She's the one that's doing the Zooming. So everybody in the Zoom world can see what's happening and they can come to it. And they're in the living room, they're in the bedroom, they went to the bathroom, and they still see Zoom and they see me. So thank you so much, Brianna, for that. And you know, I want to put this out here because everybody's family at the Marsh. I am so happy to say that Arnie, who is the regular house manager for Monday Night Marsh, is coming back. And I am so glad that Arnie's coming back. You guys know him if you know the Monday Night Marsh. I was just substituting like a substitute teacher, you know what I mean? Okay, here we go. Are you guys ready for our, thank you. Are you guys ready for your next performer?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say a little bit about this gentleman. His name is Manuel Fernandez. And and it's called The Many Faces of Chaos. The show description is this. The Many Faces of Chaos is the autobiographical account of Manuel as a kid. He talks about spending his teenage years in foster care. The times he spent in Juvenile Hall, getting jumped into a gang, and finding salvation when he started karate and ballroom dancing. But there's more about Manuel that you guys should know about. A description of the artist. Manuel Fernandez has been acting for almost 10 years and acted under Academy Award nominee Chaz Palminteri. Is that right, ma'am? Did I do it? Say it again. What's the guy's name?
Palminteri.
There you go, Palminteri. See, there he is, man, is over there. Yeah. Okay, he is a writer and published his own first novel called Tainted Sins. Again, he has a novel that I'm gonna buy on Amazon called Tainted Sins. Are you guys ready to welcome Manuel Fernandez, the many faces of chaos? Give him a round of applause.
It's been 3 weeks since she told me to never call her again. That's when the symptoms started. The shaking, pounding of the chest, the sweating profusely. I feel like I'm in a prison. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't take a deep breath. I don't know what to do. If this is what life is like, then I don't want any part of it. I don't. I don't want any part of it. So I made a decision. I was okay with it. Slept on it. Talked about it to myself. I was going to end my life. So, excited. So sorry. So sorry. Maybe next life I'll have more courage. I won't be a coward. So sorry. So to help you understand where I was at that moment in time, what I was about to do, that cliff I was about to go over, you first need to understand my story from the beginning. Now, as a kid, I was very quiet. I was super shy, right? Didn't like to talk to anybody. And that was because I had a stuttering problem. And it wasn't just a slur of the words, tip of the tongue. No, it was so back couldn't use it. It was that bad. So I was isolated. I isolated myself, didn't talk to nobody, had a couple friends here and there, but for the most part, was alone. So my parents thought there was probably something wrong with me mentally, maybe physically, who knows? So they sent me to a specialist. Now back then, there wasn't a big emphasis on cognitive behavior. We really didn't know a lot. This was the 80s. So there was no emphasis on trying to get to learn what a kid was going through on a daily basis. The bullying, and not like it is today. So here I am, 6 years old, and I'm across the table from a specialist, and he's asking me questions, right? And he's trying to pry those answers out of me. About an hour comes and passes, and he goes to my parents, and he goes, well, the good news is that Manuel is a healthy young boy. He has a keen interest in sports, baseball in particular, which is fine for a kid his age. But when he does open up, which is very rarely, I sense a sadness about it. Something that's really an anomaly for a child his age. Now, I understand the stuttering and he has trouble communicating, but is there something else going on at home besides this? We'll get back to that in a moment. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old. My brother and I went to go stay with my stepfather and my mother. Now, my father, he was still in the picture. He was a fireman, so he had 1 day on, 1 day off, and then 4 consecutive days off. And that's when he'd come see us. Pick us up, take us to the park, right? Eat ice cream. We loved hanging out with Dad. He was gregarious, never really got in a bad mood, didn't drink or smoke, didn't curse. Dad and I had a unique relationship apart from my other brothers and sisters. See, Dad and I had this thirst, this hunger, this passion, obsession, really, for sports. Baseball in particular. We talk stats all the time, right? ERA, who had the lowest ERA, who was going to win the MVP, who's in the league in RBIs, home runs, who's the greatest ever? Babe Ruth, Willie Mays. Dad always went with Willie because that was his guy. Growing up, that's who we idolized. I said the Babe because, he could pitch. To each its own. Another thing that we would do is Dad would take me around to all these different kind of baseball card shops, right? And I'm sitting there wheeling and dealing, hustling, buying, selling, trading cards. And here I am, 6, 7 years old, man. And I'm making money. He always said that I missed my calling as a stock. Now, one of the things us kids would also do is we go to the Oakland Coliseum to watch the A's play, right? So I remember just walking up the concourse, and leveling it out, and then there it was. There it was, the field. My brothers and sisters would be scurrying around. They'd be going over here, get something to eat and a souvenir, man, but I'm just sitting there. Mesmerized. Didn't matter that I've been there hundreds of times before. Every time it felt different. Just, I'm looking out. This was my cathedral. Didn't matter what was going on in my life. Didn't matter what was about to go on in the future, the past. Nothing mattered at that point. All was lost. Smell of the grass, the crack of the bat. We'd get there 2 hours early just to watch batting practice. The vendors would already be out, right? Hey, peanuts here. We got your peanuts. Hey, who wants peanuts here? Hey, we got more. We got malts here. Who wants some more? Hey, $3.50 here, $3.50. We got Cokes here for $3.50. Who wants one? Who wants a Coke? I still remember Game 1 of the 1988 World Series. And I bring that up only because at the time, it was very significant in my life. It was the first time in my lifetime that the A's actually went to the World Series. Now, I wasn't around during the 70s with Reggie, Raleigh Fingers, Jim Hunter, those guys, right? The swinging A's. So here I am at a buddy's house, and the A's get down 2-0, right? Second inning, though, bases loaded. Jose Canseco comes up, grand slam home run. The ball sails over the center field wall, smack dab, hits the camera. Huge hit. I looked to my friend and I'm like, that's cool, man. Not only was I happy that the A's were up 4-2, but Canseco was the one who did it. Now, as a kid, Jose was my guy. I worshiped him. There was God, and then there was Jose. So ninth inning comes, Eckersley comes in, he mows down the first two players, right? He walks Mike Davis, but I'm still not worried because back then Eckersley was the man. There was nobody close to being the greatest closer than Eckersley back then, back in that era. And then I see Kirk Gibson come out of the dugout. Now, I'm still not worried because even though he was the Dodgers' best player that year, he looked like he should have been in a hospital. He's limping, right? I'm still not worried. I'm thinking to myself, Stevie Wonder's got a better chance of getting a hit off Eckersley than Kirk Gibson. So, I'm still not worried. Not at all. To this day, I can hear Vince Scully's voice in my head. He was calling game one that day. I can still hear him when Kirk Gibson comes up. Well, look who's coming up. All year long, they look to him to ignite the fire. And all year long, he's met the demand. Until he was physically unable to start tonight. With two bad legs, a bad left hamstring, and a swollen right knee. And with 2 outs, you talk about a roll of the dice. High fly ball deep to right field. She is gone. When I saw that ball go over Canseco's head into the right field bleachers, made my heart sink. I think I cried. I even cried. So about 10 minutes later, I get on the phone with my dad, and he's trying to, coach me off the ledge. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. It's only one game. One game. The A's got it. The A's are a better team. Pitching, hitting, everything. Of course, the A's fell in 5, but it was just that moment that I experienced with my father, right? That special moment. See, Dad was very gregarious, like I said, very outgoing. He wasn't disciplinary. He was more like a big brother. That was my stepfather's job. He was the main male influence in my life at the time because that's who I lived with. Now, my stepfather, Mike, he generally loved my brother and I. He did. He thought of us as his own. Back in the 80s, when the WWF at the time would come to the Oakland Coliseum and the Cow Palace, he'd take us to the hotels before the matches. We'd sit, we'd wait for the wrestlers, get autographs, pictures. He'd buy us the latest new toy. He'd even coach our Little League teams. But Mike had a code that he lived by. And I found out what that code was one day when I came home from school. I walk in the door, 9 years old, and Mike's sitting there waiting for me. Principal called. Said you got in a fight. I guess that was really a fight. But he said that some kid was picking on you and you went and told the yard duty. Is that true? Well, yeah, I mean, he was a bit bigger than me. Bigger. Okay. Let me tell you something, Manuel. I don't give a fuck how big a person is. You get a bat, you get a knife, you do what you got to do. You don't rat, you don't run. I don't give a fuck what everybody says out here. The cops, they ain't your friends. Don't talk to me. I was a little bit off put. There I am, 9 years old. I didn't know what he was talking about. The only fight that I've ever really been in was with my brother. That was just kind of playing around. It was confusing as a kid because, like I said, I wasn't a fighter. I was a jock. I loved sports. I was reading the sports page by the time I was 6 years old. But that code found me a year later, walking in the bowling alley, 10 years old. And this is where all the kids from the neighborhood and from school would go, because we have, you know, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mario Brothers tournaments. Everybody would go. Everybody would just huddle up. So this big kid, about 10 years old, freckle face, maybe a little bit older, walks up to me, shoulder checks me. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing, man? You ran into me." Sorry, man. I didn't know. I just, yeah, you are sorry, man. Slaps me about 4 or 5 times. Don't even remember how many. And now everybody, all the kids have stopped what they're doing. And there was a crowd gathered and they just surrounded us. They're just waiting. What's going to happen now? And I was thinking the same thing, because my first instinct is just to walk away. I'm not a fighter. Didn't know how. But then something happened. These feelings just came up inside me. Just something that I never felt before. And it wasn't anger, it wasn't rage, because I felt those before. This was something different. This was something like I wanted to just murder this guy. I never felt that before. And then Mike's voice came into my head. I don't give a fuck how big somebody is. You get a bat, you get a knife, you do what you got to do, but you don't run. Yeah. Yeah. Quick time out here. As you can see, I can't fight. Right? This is not fighting. So about 4 or 5 windmill shots in, I started to feel skin on my knuckles. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, am I hitting the kid or am I hitting maybe another kid around? I just wasn't sure until I opened up my eyes. And there's the kid. He's on the ground. And he's looking up at me, and his nose is to the side, right? And there's blood coming down his face. There's blood on my knuckles. And all the kids are around me, and they're going like, I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah. I won. Yeah, I won. But my victory was really short-lived, because about probably not even 5 minutes, cop comes in, he grabs me, and he throws me up against the wall. Like, "What are you doing here, you little shit? Huh? You causing trouble? Spread your legs. You got anything that's gonna stick me? Huh? What's your name? Oh, that's how we're gonna play now. You're not gonna tell me anything. Okay." This cop was right out of Central Casting. Right. Aviator glasses, crew cut, big bull guy. Okay. Huh. Search your pockets here. Oh, what do we got here? School ID. Manuel Fernandez. Are you one of them beaners from Oakland? Hayward? I didn't know you pricks actually learned how to read and write. All right. That's how you're going to play it. I'm going to take you down to the station. Call your parents. See how tough you really are. Here I am. I'm 10 years old, and I'm in a jail cell. I shouldn't be here. I've never been in trouble before. There's pee and poop. Oh, toilet overflowing. I'm scared. About an hour later, the cop comes down into the jail cell in the basement. He goes, "Fernandez, get your ass up, follow me." So we go upstairs, and who do I see in the lobby but Mike? So the cop turns to Mike and he goes, "Sir, I arrested your stepson here. He wasn't very cooperative. I asked him his name, basic information, and he looked at me like I had 3 heads. Is that right? And when an officer gives you an order, you obey, you understand me? Sorry, officer. Won't happen again." It's okay. You ever need help with this one, you let me know. Here's my card. So I'm confused. Mike told me not to talk to the cops. That's what I did. I didn't talk to the cops. Did what he told me. So we get outside, turns to me and he goes, "Cop said that you fucked that kid up. Broke his fucking nose. Is that true?" Well, yeah, you told me to fight back. I told you to fight back. I'm proud of you. Come on. Buy your Big Mac and Coke. There. I'll tell your mother. Oh, Manuel, I'm proud of you. I was on cloud 9. Here I am, right? I made Mike proud, made him happy, which made me happy. But living by that code came at a price. As the years progressed, I found out what that price was. You see, Mike worked as a truck driver or a loader, loading produce on and off at the old Lucky's warehouse in the marina. So he would work the graveyard shift and sometimes the swing shift. Now the swing shift, by 11:30, when he came home, man, all his buddies were there. The place was rocking, right? There's cocaine on the table. There's weed. Everybody smoking weed, drinking, right? In the bathroom, man, you can hear everybody fucking. There's orgies going on. I mean, it was like Studio 54 sometimes. My brother and I were, trying to go to sleep to go to school the next day. My mom kind of did the best that she could to try to control them. And sometimes she would take us kids and leave. Because we'd wake up the next day just stepping over bodies. Sometimes they were bloody. So it was a lot to see for a kid my age. Finally, it was just too much for my mother to handle. The drinking, Mike would always come home just wired up, just wanting to get into something. So she left it. Split the family up, but it was probably for the best because it was just a chaotic scene. So I went to go stay with my mother, and she hooked up with this new guy. Now, this was how this new guy, Bob, this was how he would actually wake me up in the morning time for school. Get up, you little son of a bitch. Get the fuck up right now. Get up. Swear to God, piece of shit, get the fuck up. I'll fucking kill you. Bob was really an eccentric kind of character. That's just how I put it. My mother was working as a truck driver. She's working 10, 12 hours a day. Bob just decided one day just to quit his job, just like that, to quit. So now my mother really isn't around because she's trying to keep a roof over her head, food in everybody's stomach. So one day I'm walking to school and I hear a boop, 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 boop. Look over, and it's Bob in his Impala. He's blasting Leonard Skinner, right? He's got the Confederate flag in the window. He goes, "Hey man, get in. Today, you're ditching school. Come with me." So I go in. Here we are, man. Bob just takes off, right? Right. We're driving down 580, man, from like 90, 95. The odometer is just getting growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, we end up in this house in East Oakland. I'm looking around. Every place has bars on it. All the windows. There's gunshots, right, going off every 10 seconds. People just walking like zombies, man. So Bob goes into this house, comes back not even 30 seconds later, and he's got this big white rock wrapped in a sandwich bag. Now, back then, I didn't know what crack cocaine was. I mean, I saw the Nancy Reagan, ads, Somebody offers you drugs, you just say no. So we go up to this church. Bob's got this pipe. So he puts the crack rock in there, man. There you go. Hit it. Said fucking hit it. You don't hit it, I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna leave you here. Oh man, I need someone help. I need help. I need help. So I wake up about an hour later, my house, and I'm on the ground, and Bob's over there in the recliner, and he's got a syringe around his arm. Oh, finally woke up, huh? I thought you were dead, man. I thought you were dead. Oh, help me. This feels good. Yeah. So that was the beginning of the downfall. Started running away. Didn't want to be at home. Quit sports. Quit everything. Started hanging out. I was drinking now. Drugs. Right? Popped my cherry. 13 years old. Seemed like this was the right thing to do at the time. to fill that void, to feel that pain at home. Drugs were flowing through my body, the alcohol, 40s. It's great. Don't worry about going home. Mom finally, after weeks of not coming home and just living on the streets, sleeping behind garbage cans, I'd sleep in schoolyards, just wherever I could, so I didn't have to go home. My mom finally realized I wasn't going to school. Truant officer got a hold of her and my father and her talked, and I went out there and lived with my dad for a little bit, but that wasn't working. Finally, one night, my dad, we got into it with my stepmother. She was always nagging me about, no, do this, do this, do this. And I was just, didn't want to hear it from anybody. So my dad comes in one night and he goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Huh? What happened? Did Mike touch you? Did Bob touch you? What the hell happened? Why are you like this? Why are you so fucked up? You don't know? You don't know, Dad? Huh? What were you? When all this was going on, when I was getting beat up, man. Somebody help me. You don't give a shit about me. I didn't know. Well, how could you not know? Did you ask? Did you ever? Was it about you? So my parents got together and they decided there's only one thing that might straighten me out. Being locked up. So I'm on my way to Juvenile Hall, back seat of the car, man. I'm handcuffed. He's like, I don't want to go, man. I don't want to go. Cops turn to me and he goes, kid, I don't give a shit. It's my job just to take it. I care less. So I get there. First day, 13 years old, Juvenile Hall. And I'm in the holding tank and I'm looking over at all these different guys, man. They're all older than me, bigger than me. They got tattoos, XIV, right? MS-13, Su 13. I'm a lamb in a lion cage. First day there, the officer comes in and he goes, all right, here's how it's going to go down. You will not give my staff and me any dirty lips or looks. You do. Rule number 1. Locked up. 2 weeks, solitary. No shoes. Only shirts, pants, no belts. Only socks. Rule number 2, if you break rule number 1, 4 weeks, solitary. Keep fucking up, I'll leave you here forever. That's when the journey was about to start. That's when my life was about to change. I didn't know it at that time, but what I was going into was life-changing. I was going to come in, came in a broken little boy, but little did I know I was going to leave even broken.
Y'all got enough energy for one more round of applause? That was for both our performers. We had Saunders and we had Manuel Fernandez. And this was The Many Faces of Chaos by Manuel Fernandez. And I know you guys are waiting for the discussion meeting and everybody get together and ask any questions, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Not all questions, but you know, we'll go ahead. So give us a few moments. And we have Robert here setting up everything. Yes, please. And Robert will be hosting, but we'll be hosting the discussion, the question and answer. Yeah.
All right, wow. This is what I love about Monday Night March is I do several tech shows throughout the week, you know, with these really impressive, you know, professional performers, you know, who really have it down. But the fact that we have this platform where we can have people, you know, try it out, they're working through some stuff, they kind of need the energy off the audience, and you get these amazing performances. That's what I absolutely love about Monday Night March. So I just wanted to say that off the top, and feel free. What I love about these Q&As that we do afterwards is it's not just us asking questions about, hey, you know, what made you want to write this? Or, you know, what's tough about writing this? But also, if you have any constructive criticism for these people, that helps them just as much as you asking, you know, what makes their brain tick. It's all about kind of just working off each other. So if you feel free to ask any questions about their piece, say, hey, you know, maybe this didn't work, maybe have you tried doing this? So at any point, if you folks have any questions, feel free. My first question for you, Sally, is where did you get the title for your piece? Exercise can, what was the exercise can be damaging for you?
Or in fitness, maybe hazardous to your health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love all the little short stories, but how did you get to that title?
Well, I kept trying to get fit and kept trying to do all these healthy things, and I always ended up so I thought, well, if you got lemons, make lemonade out of it. And so I thought, well, all of these wastes of time and money and effort, and I'll stir it up and make it into a comedy skit, and then maybe that'll heal it.
Miguel, wow, that's a story, and it's your story. How did you get here from your upbringing? Because although, you know, we only really got to see a couple of years, you know, like you know, of, you know, the life that you had, you know, your mom, your boyfriends, your dad. How did you get to this point where you can actually like kind of tell your story? Because you're an amazing storyteller.
I talk about it, you know, in my, you know, to throw, I mean, the entire version of the play, but you know, it was luck. I think it was, you know, somebody was looking out for me, because I should have been dead probably 3 or 4 times. You know,
right.
I've been stabbed, I've been shot at, I've been knocked into a coma. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, I shouldn't be here. And that's one of the reasons that I decided just, you know, one day just to kind of sit down and just, you know, I got a legal pad and just make notes, just write it out. And you know, first it was going to be a book, and then I saw Chaz Palminteri's play, Bronx Taylor. Man, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's going to be tough, a lot of hard work. That would be cool. That having a one-man play, and I could, reenact what I saw as a kid,
right.
And then just, as a young adult, and then my experiences when I went into Juvenile Hall, before getting jumped into a gang, what happened during that, going on my first drive-by, seeing my first dead body, all of that. Yeah, I could do a play. So that was kind of, the genesis behind it.
So you just kind of collecting all of your stories together, then the seed got kind of planted on your own. It wasn't any exterior thing if you were watching a movie or
no. Well, I was doing an acting gig, and we were in the co-actor of mine. Her and I were just waiting for our scenes, and so we're in the back just kind of just talking, and she's telling me about her life, and telling I started to tell her about my life, and then it went from 20 minutes to like 3 hours that we're just sitting there talking, and then I found myself just opening up to her, and by the end, like she's like, wow, she's like, that's a book. She said that's a book, it's a sitcom, a movie. She said that's something. And she's like, you got to do something with it,
right?
So that's how kind of the seed was planted, but I really didn't act on it for probably 6 months, 7 months, and then I took David Ford's class,
okay,
on how to construct a one-man show.
Right. David Ford, for those of you who don't know, is a great director who actually works with a lot of performers to kind of like workshop their pieces. His next graduating class is at the end of the month, just so you know. Sorry.
No, he's awesome. The David Ford is great. And then I started working with Tina. I always get her last name.
Tina Jahi?
Yeah. I always get her last name wrong. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's during the pandemic. I performed about 30 minutes of my play over Zoom, and then she'd watch it, she'd critique me, and she'd, oh, okay, this is okay, maybe you can do this. You don't really need to do this, you can, and so then it kind of turned into a thing to where I started shortening it up and moving, more quickly, because it was just kind of getting drawn out. So she helped me a lot, just compacting it, the doing the blocking stuff, and she always told me, just take your time, because in the beginning it was just really fast, and relax, enjoy the moment, make sure that the audience enjoys the moment, just take your time, and just tell the story. That she helped me out tremendously.
Wow, beautiful. Since the two of you actually wrote your pieces here, and Sally, you've been performing for decades. You're like Marsh royalty on it, because you come here all the time. I've come to see you since I started working here. I've been here for about 8 months. How many drafts would the two of you say that you do before you even feel like it's at a place where you're ready to start showing it to other people? Do you have just one draft and then one final draft, or is it just consistently nonstop? We'll start with you, Sally.
Well, I had lots of notes, and I would keep my notes, notes on this subject. And then I wrote up a draft, and then I wrote up another draft, and then I wrote up another draft. And I guess that's about it. Yeah, okay. I'm still, I'm sure there's more to come. Yeah. For this
particular one, you have more stuff.
Yeah. So running around, now, I'll be 84 in January. So I'm kind of letting myself. So I'm letting myself off the hook a little bit, and just doing what I enjoy doing, and not all this, you should this, and you should that, and you should this. So I'm not running around, to gyms and exercise classes and yoga classes, and I'm kind of retired.
Okay. Yeah.
Retired, trying to get fit.
Do you have any like a writing partner or anybody that you can kind of like share these stories with, that they can then help you also, similar to.
I'm really a poet. I'm really a poet. This is a hobby. And my real life, I'm a poet. And I do conference calls and Zooms all the time, all over the country, all over the world. And that's really what I am. And this is a sidekick. This is a hobby.
Right. You just want to keep those juices going, keep the wheels turning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, man?
Yeah. For me, yeah, it's I can't even remember how many drafts that I've done, that I've written. And each time I perform, I add something, to it. Like the original script is pretty much a carbon copy of all the other scripts that I wrote, or the drafts. Nothing has really changed. It's just, sometimes I'll throw in something small here and there, like with the baseball thing tonight. That I came up with about a week ago. Yeah, and I was watching YouTube, watching old baseball games and stuff, and then Vince Scully came on, and so here I am. I think I remember I was trying to emulate his voice the best that I could for probably about, remember one night it was like 3 hours. I was just listening to him, just commentating for doing broadcasting old Brooklyn Dodgers, and so for me it's about like getting into the character,
right?
Really kind of getting in there. How do they think? How do they how do they work? How do they the little nooks and crannies, and
right.
Just try to be as detail oriented as I can, but like I said, also just kind of throw in something.
Right. And so you just started watching like hours of this commentator?
Yeah.
I feel like that commentator like voice is so specific. It's like a line.
Yeah.
You sound like a baseball commentator. Give this person the job.
Yeah.
I thought you sounded like a baseball commentator. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not a big baseball fan, so I don't know if you got his accent down.
Yeah.
You just cut him down.
A little bit, not to where not to where I
you said to think of this like a week ago though, so
yeah,
you give yourself a little bit of a break.
Yeah. No, it's just a lot of it is just really research. I wrote and ideas just come out of nowhere. I remember a couple of years back, I was in a movie theater. I went to the movie by myself. I was watching The Expendables, and this idea about, because I'm a huge baseball fan and I love the history of the game. And one of the most iconic baseball fields was Ebbets Field that the old Brooklyn Dodgers played in. And as a kid, I always loved to just, learn about Ebbets Field. I was obsessed with it as a kid, even though I was a Giants fan and an A's fan. But I was obsessed with the Brooklyn Dodgers per se, but Ebbets Field and the surrounding amenities, just the neighborhood, how it was. It was blue collared, and then it was like when Sunday came, or when the Dodgers played, it was like everything stopped. God, on Sunday, God even took a back seat to the Dodgers, back in the day, back in in the 30s, 40s and 50s. So I had an idea for this guy to go back in time, and go to Ebbets Field. And so of course, I had to find out everything about Ebbets Field. So I read I probably read about 10 books about Ebbets Field, watched hours of documentaries, and I even talked to people who were at Ebbets Field, who actually went there. Give me, the lay of the land. How did it smell when you guys first went in there? Before the ballpark, what were people doing? And then, they were telling, we had the cops, or if there was any Yankees fans that came in there, the cops would throw them out, and and they're like, we hated the Yankees, and anybody that was running a Yankee hat inside Ebbets Field or coming up to the Tundra, man, voted them right. I mean, it was ruthless. Some of the stories that people that were there that tell me,
Right.
So, but yeah, and yeah, it's just, creativity is just, it just hits you at the weirdest times.
Yeah. There's like an intensity that I'm noticing, not like in a bad way, but like you want to tell the best possible story.
Yeah.
So you seem like you're really motivated to
Try
to get like the best picture.
Yeah.
So you can then paint it well.
Yeah.
It's like, the best teachers are the ones that can actually like do it themselves and then show you instead of just tell you.
So do. Yeah.
Right. Which actually leads me to the next question. Since the two of you are drawing from past memories, are you able just to kind of go internally and find the content that you want, or are you great at journaling, or do you video everything around you so that you can then go back and watch them? Like, how do you build your screenplay that then you can then perform it to get all the details right?
Well, no, I'm a many-pronged writer. I write poetry, I write comedy, I write a lot of emails, I write letters, a lot of letters. And so I've got a lot of wheels going on different things. And usually I get ideas. Well, this is, I'll get an idea and then I put it, and I have this file for this. And then I have my other comedy files.
Right.
And then I have my nature poems, and I have, so there's I'm quite I'm like a factory with a lot of people churning out work.
You're leaving paper trails everywhere.
Poor lot of trees have been cut down because of that.
And by the way, also, his travels all over the world also. He have a lot of pictures and things that you can tell a story about.
Really?
Right. He travels a lot.
Where have you traveled that is memorable for you? Or have you wrote, already forgot a question. Have any of your travels come up on some of your screenplays, your poems?
Oh, for my poetry, yeah. That I'm going to be doing a big program the 16th about travel and poetry in the Hebrides and about Greenland. I went to Greenland. That was very inspired. I love to go up the North Coast to Little River, Dambion, right there. I just came back from the Redwoods, which was very inspiring. I've always got a bag half packed. The thing is, I'm not able to just take off by myself anymore. I need to have a companion.
Right.
So as soon as someone says they want to companionize me somewhere, off we'll go.
I think that would be like a great service. Like, like Craigslist was safer,
Yeah.
I want to go to Redwoods. Do you want to go? Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think what Steve Merchant said that he genuinely thinks you need to travel to expand the mind.
Right.
Right. To be in cultures that are foreign to you.
Yeah.
To just deal with what it's like to live in that part of the world wherever you go to. It's important for the human mind and for the expansion of the human mind.
What I really like most in traveling is I like to go to places where there's nothing. There's nothing there. Nothing. And I think nothing gets me very excited. Like in Greenland, there was nothing. No restaurants, no movie theaters, no traffic, no graffiti. Because with the nothing, you lose a lot of you don't have the museums and the concerts, but you don't have all of the other stuff.
Yeah, it's like whenever people come and visit San Francisco, they're going to go to the places like Pier 39. They might go catch a game at the ballpark. They're going to go to Union Square. How many of us go to Pier 39 on a working place? No, because it's just there. It's like it's a painting. It's not the real part. We know the best parts are the little places like Thermal Heights or Corona Heights, or the best restaurant will be, the little Vietnamese restaurant on the corner, because that's the real San Francisco. It's not the one that people go to take photos. No, it's the people that go to appreciate San Francisco. I once went on a trip with my girlfriend to Catalina Islands in Avalon. And if you've been there, it's all just the beautiful houses, and then immediately it becomes the mountainside or the mountainy sides. But my girlfriend and I took bicycles, and we just started exploring the parts of Catalina that nobody saw. And we actually came up on this little neighborhood that was in a little valley that were these tiny little homes, these huts that the locals were living in. These were the people who were, you know, working the kayak station or working as bartenders. And that's where we started, you know, exploring, and we started talking to some of the locals. And it, for me, amplified the trip even more, because to me, that was the real Catalina Islands.
It made me want to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Manuel, how do you draw a lot of the details for your piece? There was a lot of stuff in there. It was a very compressed, but like really detailed story.
It's practice, and then practice again.
But what are you drawing?
Journals. Like, you know, I still love to do stuff freehand. You know, I'll I write screenplays as well. But what I'll do, and even like short stories and stuff, and I even did it like for my novel, is I wrote almost the entire thing in freehand. And then it's like, okay, now I got to go back on the computer, you know, type it in. But I still love to do a lot of stuff. Like I have a pad in my car that I keep with me all the time. So I still love to work freehand. It's my favorite thing that I was to do. And like for like my screenplays, I just have different files, and you know, I started out like writing crime noir screenplays. Won a few awards in some festivals, but then it was like I wanted to see, okay, can I do comedy? And, you know, and then so I wrote this this pilot called Guards, and it's based on my personal life working at a Fortune 500 company, you know, as in my 20s as a security guard. And I had 2 other guards working with me, and just the stuff that we saw, it was so comical, because you know, these were, you know, Fortune 500, so CEOs and, you know, all these, but just the stuff that would go on from the janitor to, you know, to the maintenance guys, and to the, you know, what was going on with the CEO, and he was having an affair, or you know, whatever, but you know, but just like certain, and it was just, and I remember just, it was probably the most fun that I've ever had on the job. I mean, it wasn't the highest paying job, but it was the most fun that I've ever had. Yeah. Because I was laughing consistently every single day, because my 2 coworkers were, and one of them reminded me of George Stanton, because he was, I mean, it just to the T, because he'd make something, you know, something small, like oh yeah, that guy just walked by me, and you know, he didn't say anything. Usually he does. Oh, well, maybe you just have a bad. No, it's personal. I you know, I did something to him, and I don't know what, and he would just go on for 20 minutes, and then we're like, okay, and so finally I decided, you know what, this would be a good comedy, and so I started again writing freehand, and then, you know, creating like 3 or 4 different drafts, and finally, you know, getting one, you know, typing up a pilot. I'm still kind of like shopping around right now, but yeah, just different, you know, like like, and now like you know, I'm starting to write more kind of like science fiction now. Okay. So just like I said again, I could be in a car, I could be at a stoplight, and all of a sudden got an idea. Like you know, a perfect example is you know, I was driving to work about 8 months ago, just to work, like, you know, 9 o'clock at night, and I get this idea for comedy, and it's about, you know, it's this mob boss who's out of prison, and it's the, if you ever seen Analyze This with Billy Crystal and De Niro, yeah, right. But so my thing is, it's in reverse now. So the mob guy is the therapist, and he's giving advice to all these kind of like guys who are well off, who are software engineers and executives, but they really don't have any social skills, and they've been bullied all their life, and and they don't really know how to stand up, but they're well off. And so, but he does it street style, where he's like, yeah, my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, he's he always just like makes fun of me, and he's like, well, get it back and slap him. Hey, what are you doing? What are you crying for, man? So yeah. So it's just, like I said, it hits you in different places. Always like this.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you're driving and you get an idea.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I really hope I can write it.
Yeah.
For the light on the screen, so I want somebody to honk from behind.
Yeah, well, I've pulled over many times. Just right.
If you don't write it down, it just goes away. You don't know what it's back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? I have one. Earl.
Yes, this one is for you, Manuel. I don't want to ask you.
Excuse me, I need to go to the ladies' room.
Okay.
Yes, please, please.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Manuel, when you talk about soul performance, it hit the soul. And you get a response. We had, and I would share this with you. We had a patron that left because you offended person very bad. Excuse me. I didn't know that until he turned around and said, "This is terrible." And he turned around and he stayed for a moment. He said, "It was horrible what you said." I think he did a good job because he typed an emotion. His thing was, he was a drug addict himself. And apparently how you portrayed or how your storyline upsetting him. Now, I don't know if it was flashbacks or something that triggered.
Yeah.
And again, your stories are very, which is good. Tell them the story like it is. Yeah. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You talk about being a boy and learning baseball and all that. And then you deal about the really lifestyle that you have. How would you want to tell this person that left in regards to, I think it was a wonderful thing because you triggered him and made him think. Some people might think it's negative, but I think it's kind of positive because that's your job. To put it out there and tell it like it is.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the same as going to see a movie, right? Especially like a violent movie. There's gonna be violence, sometimes, of course this might be different because it's, there's very little, I mean, it talks about, kind of like, in the programs and stuff about what it is they talk about, but really, the hardcore justification of it. But I would say, if it hit him that hard, then he should know. He should know, like, instead of kind of taking it as a negative, take it like, yeah, that was me. I was there, and that's what I try to do too, because I think, as the story progresses, I think I have something for everybody. Even if you didn't, if you grew up around drugs, or even if you didn't, okay, well then, okay, did you grow up around a gang, or even if you did jump into a gang, okay, well, later on about, getting your heart broken. I mean, I think there's something in there for everybody. And, I don't worry at all about what people think or say, because it's my story, and I'm, not everybody's gonna like it because it's not for everybody. It's not PG. It's I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. It's the raw, version. This is life. This is what happens. There's millions of stories like mine, probably even worse, across the country. So for me, it's like I said, not everybody's gonna like it, but I can't worry about that. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Mhm.
The part that you said you just added was the baseball scene.
Mhm.
Okay. Hands down, that is when you could see the joy in your face.
Yeah.
I've seen that type of joy in faces of people who love sports and different things. My son is one, not baseball, but although his father loved Kurt Gibson. But what I mean is, what I'm trying to say is, giving that was a good instinct, because what it shows is how vulnerable a child who is just the innocence and the beauty in a child, a young person, and how the horrible people around them can, I know, I'm sorry.
No.
The people that have been given this absolutely beautiful gift of a child, as beautiful as you were. And yes, you had problems, you had stuttering, all kids have trouble, problems. Yes, you come from a divorce or a broken home. But people come out of it and they can go one way or the other. And the influences of these other people are so destructive. And I think it's really important to see, when you're telling your story, I could have gone one way or the other. And this is what happened to me. And it's not you that made that decision. It was made for you. So that little piece is really important, because any parent, most parents have seen that look in their child's eye when they love something. And my son is a passionate child and has always loved certain things. And when he goes into the stadium and he used to compete, and the look in his eyes, the same one that you had. And I just want to let you know that it was a good instinct.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, and just reliving those days, it was like, I experienced the most chaos around me in terms of like with the adults in my life. But baseball, especially baseball, it made me forget everything. And it was just like, I was just, okay, when my parents are fighting or whatever, I'm gonna hop on my bike and go down to the local cart shop and I'm gonna wheel and deal, and everything that's happening with the adults, I could care less, because I'm in my own zone. And then and it's one of those things where because I used to work with a kid, and I saw kind of that same thing, and then it's sad, because then it's like there's a young guy that I was teaching when I taught martial arts, and it's just the joy that he was going through, and the passion that he had in competing. And I saw him years later, and he was on the streets, and I wanted to cry, because it was like he was so innocent. And this kids are greatest things. They're so innocent, and they can teach us so much. But until it's so great, man, and then the real world gets a hold of them, and it becomes, and it's just sad, because there's a lot of bad influences, there's a lot of bad people out here, but there's a lot of good people too. There's a lot of great people and great influences, and I think it's especially a kid, how they turn out is they're around, in the very beginning, what they're taught, how they're taught. Manners, do this, hard work, don't just take anything for granted, and enjoy life, and it's I'm not a parent, but I raised my younger brothers kind of like as my own, so I can kind of I see it in a way, and it's not easy being a parent. There's no guide, and that's why, like, when I see all these different books on parenting, I'm just like, well, nothing is set in stone. You're not, you can't be a perfect parent. There's no such thing,
right?
You're going to fail. You just are.
What's the age difference between you and your brother?
Well, my brothers have 4, so one is
You raised all your other brothers as well?
I raised my two younger ones. They're right now they're 32 and 30.
Okay.
And my other brother, he's 44. And I got another one that's 30. No, that just turned 40.
Got it.
So yeah, even I get.
Well, I think this is a great place to stop. I think you're a success story in my book. I loved how honest and open you were about your story. And I think you did a fantastic job telling your story. So please give one more round of applause for both Sally and Manuel. Thank you. We will be here in 2 weeks. We'd like to see the attendees, or maybe possibly a little bit of the next East part.
Yeah. Next time I'll be expanding. I'll be talking about the time that I went into Juvenile Hall.
There we go. Well, thank you so much, folks. Have a lovely night.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Next.